So, let's talk about Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Red Rising is the book that I chose for my ISU, and before I can even talk about it, let me give you some background info on it. The book starts out on Mars. Society is all based off of the color that you are. There are three different classes: high, medium, and low. The low class would consist of reds, who are manual laborers, pink, who are sex workers, obsidians, who are killer soldiers, and brown, who are servants, like cooks and cleans. While the mid class would consist of grays, soldiers, orange, who are mechanics and engineers, violets, who are artists, greens, who are technicians, yellow, who are medical workers, and blue, who are astronauts. Finally, the high class would consist of copper, who are lawyers, whites, who are judges, silver, who are businessmen, and golds, who are the rulers. They fall into the hierarchy like so. Summary. Our main character Darrow is a red and believes that he is the pioneer of Mars. Soon he realizes that Mars has been habitable for the longest time and has been lied to his entire life. He changes into a gold and tries to destroy society from the inside. Since there are a lot of characters, I will only be talking about 3. The rest of the important characters, in my opinion, will be listed in the description below, so please feel free to pause the video and take a look now. Darrow is our main character and is a red. He is 16 years old. We watch Darrow as he rises to the upper class while he spends the book trying to avenge his dead wife. Jackal. Jackal is much harder, smarter, and more brutal than Darrow, according to Mustang. He is from the south and part of the House of the Augustus. He cheats to earn his father's approval. Cassius. Cassius is Jillian's stronger twin brother, who is a warrior. He doesn't realize that Darrow is the one that killed his brother and assumes that Titus did. He loves his brother and is protective of him, so he tries to do anything to avenge his death. Oh, and before I can get started, the next part of the video will include spoilers of the book, so you can click out now if you need to. Red Rising by Pierce Brown highlights the deep-rooted effects of injustice in society through class hierarchy, abuse of power, and rebellion, demonstrating to the reader the importance of fighting for one's own rights and freedoms. Class hierarchy. Class hierarchy plays a huge role in the injustice of Mars. One might even argue how it's the base of injustice. It creates a divide in the social class, creating an ideology that one's position is much more important than the person itself, leading to unavoidable consequences. Remember this? Well, it is through the pyramid that class hierarchy gains its importance in the society of Mars. They shimmer gold and silver. Those are the only colors I see in the sky. Their grave boots carry them about like gods. The technology is so much more graceful than clumsy. Grave boots our keepers wear in the mines. When Darrow's eyes were opened, he realized that what the world of Mars has become and the unfair advantage society has brought onto its lower colors. Without the pyramid, Darrow would have had equal opportunity just like the golds and silvers in the sky. It is through the pyramid ideology that we see the importance of class hierarchy within the book and the role that it plays for everyone, whether it's positive or negative. Golds rule. Darrow lives in a society where the golds rule over everyone, and this ideology is what contributes to the injustice of Mars. Yellow, blue, orange, green, pink, 100 shades of a dozen colors for a hierarchy so complex, so alien, I scarcely think it's a human concept. It is human nature to create something so complex yet so unnecessary, and in Red Rising by Pierce Brown, it takes it one step further and creates a whole new dystopian world around it. Unlike the real world, their injustice is blown out of proportion to where it's detrimental to their way of life. Darrow uses their anger towards their rule and power to hold a fight for justice and freedom for his people. Divide. When everyone is divided through their social status, it causes a drift between people's worth. This makes people feel more valued than others. Reds were sent to Mars 500 years ago. The other colors came to Mars around 300 years ago. While our ancestors still toiled beneath the Earth's surface, they lived in pan-filled cities with bubbles and atmospheres over them, while the rest of the world terraformed slowly. The Reds thought they were making a difference. This divide from the higher colors is what caused the injustice that brought onto Mars. The value of the colors shifted when the other colors came onto Mars without informing the Reds about it. This selfishness from the golds created a deep-rooted effects of injustice that the readers witness. Our status and position in the hierarchy will alter the way we perceive things through certain privileges. Red Rising was able to demonstrate this through the pyramid, how the golds rule, and the divide that caused it, creating a world where social inequality is the norm. Abuse of power. The abuse of power in this book is another great example of how injustice is continued in the society of Mars. One will use this abuse to maintain their power and control over another individual, which creates a damaging society. The colors. The colors is a concept where the ones that rule abuse the power in order to take control. Darrow tries to make this equality by banning the abuse of slaves. I've outlawed the abuse of slaves. The Cree's slaves, though, still skittish around Vix and a few others, provide food and fire for anything else. They're good for little else. This is a prime example of the power that the Golds have. They are able to control the lives of others as if they are ants. Darrow would be able to change the rules of the game by being selfless and helping the slaves out, demonstrating to the reader the importance of standing up for yourself and what you believe is right. War. The unnecessary aspect of war demonstrates how the abuse of power is able to influence others. What do you think they are doing? Julian asked me, do you think they expect us to kill each other? I finished. Yes, that's what they expect. The Golds use this excuse of war to gather more power and teach them how to rule with an iron fist. The war teaches the Golds different tactics to control and influence others. Rape and torture. Rape and torture within the war demonstrates the abuse of power, showcasing the importance of justice and unity. Cassius flouted my authority and tried to rape a Cree slave during the night. Nillis caught him, and Mustang barely stopped her from cutting Tactus 1,000 different times. This is a prime example of someone abusing their own power for a negative personal gain. The Golds all have power to do whatever the hell they want. They can rape people if they want, but this is where morals come into play. Ruling with an iron fist is much more different than abusing your power. Power with authority is used to have more control over one's life, but when the people of authority abuses this power, it will lead to destruction. From the colors to war to rape and torture, Red Rising was able to demonstrate this to the readers. Abusing power, many colors had to deal with. Rebellion! The abuse of power leads to the cause for rebellion in order to create a society where one's rights and freedoms are respected. Red's treatment. The treatment of Reds as pawns in the board game is the reason why Darrow chooses to rebel. So the first colors were gradually instituted, and the Reds were sent to the Mars to gather fuel for mankind. Mining colonies were established there. They treated the Reds as people who got away and pushed them to the side to rot. They brought them into the environment where they have a low lifespan and death is everywhere. Darrow is fighting for his people, which is an important takeaway. Death. The death of Io and Darrow's wife is the dip that leads to Darrow wanting to join the Sons of Ares. I can't bring back your dead wife to you, but Darrow, look at me. Look at me! Helldiver! I do, right in those blood-red eyes. I can't do many things, but I can bring you justice. This death is really important to this story as it is strive to keep on moving forward. It demonstrates the importance for not giving up. Terrorism. The Sons of Ares rebel to create a society where one's rights are respected, causing a shift in Mars. We'll play a game to see if you are one of the outliers, Darrow. If you win, I will take you to see something the Low Reds have never seen. Low Reds? I've never heard that term. And if I lose, you are not an outlier, and the Gold win yet again. The Sons of Ares is the reason why he rebelled in the first place. Without him, he would be dead. His dedication and drive is what pushed him to the top. Through the treatment of the Reds, facing death and rebellion, Darrow was able to fight the odds and prove his importance for his cause. William Farquhar once said, "Never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty, truth, and compassion against injustice, lying, and greed. If people all over the world would do this, it would make change." It is through class hierarchy that the abuse of power and rebellion that Brown was able to capture the importance of fighting for one's own rights and freedom through the exemplar of Darrow, allowing him to have the power to change it into a better place. Oh, and there's 2 more books in the game, and a movie as well.